Good morning and welcome to GRITT, Girls Rocking It in Technology and the Trades. My name is Walanda McLeod, President and CEO at Brightside Opportunity Center. I am excited to be with you today. We are going to start the program this morning with a welcome from the President of Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology, President Pedro Rivera, who has a special message for young women like you who are thinking about what you like to do in the future. Then we'll meet Emily Pilliton. She's the founder and executive director of Girls Garage. In case you don't know about Girls Garage, it's a nonprofit design and build program that has dedicated workspaces for girls ages 9 to 18. When Emily finishes up today, she might share her vision of what it might look like if every girl stormed the aisles of the hardware store and went forth to build the world she wanted. But first, let me introduce President Pedro Rivera, the president of Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology. The college is located in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and its main purpose is to make sure that every individual, regardless of their circumstances in life, have the opportunity to go to college and receive an education that will result in a job with a sustainable income to support their future. President Rivera has been a leader for education in Pennsylvania for decades. He served as the Secretary of Education for Pennsylvania from 2015 to 2020 under Governor Wolf. Before that, he was the superintendent of the School District of Lancaster, the first Latino to serve in either of those roles. He was also a teacher, assistant principal, principal, and executive director for the School District of Philadelphia for 13 years. In 2014, the White House named him as one of the 10 individuals as a champion of change for his efforts to transform urban education with a holistic approach to student success. Late last year, then elect President Biden named President Rivera to the transition team for the National Department of Education. Last October, he took the position as president of Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology. He is a first generation college student and the first in his family to graduate from college. He will proudly tell you, though, that he is not the last. President Rivera?
Thank you, Yolanda. As a father and educator, I'm excited to join all of you in this celebration of Women's History Month. Thaddeus Stevens College holds this event in March to bring young women like you together to meet with others who want to share their experiences about what your future can look like. During this time, we want to get you thinking about what interests you, what you like to do, and how you can build off of that passion to enjoy learning, build a career pathway, and to start realizing your future self. Today, you can see yourself as a female astronaut, working as the only female engineer on a round-the-world solar flight, or many other STEM and computer science careers that exist, in preparing for the ever-changing world of science and technology. You can dream of being a meteorologist in front of the camera or behind the scenes, having overcome one of life's greatest challenges, calculus. Each of these women have a number of things in common. They set their sights on a goal, they pursued that goal, and they succeeded in historically non-traditional careers as women. Because of them, every day these careers are becoming more and more traditional for the next generation, girls like you. This year we welcome Emily Pilliton, who will share with you her inspiration behind Girls Garage. Thaddeus Stevens College aligns with Emily's message in encouraging young women to build the world that they want to see. As Emily will share, the tools needed to be successful might be a hammer, the confidence to try something new, or the ability to see yourself in the world of STEM. Our college endeavors to give young women a picture of what your future might be. We remove the barriers to accessing a college education, whether financial, social, learning challenges, or systems of support. We want you to be successful, and that's our goal. I'll close by sharing a personal story of excitement as a father of a 10-year-old girl. I'm proud when my little girl says she graduated from Thaddeus Stevens College. No, she didn't graduate, but she did walk across the stage, finishing as a kindergartner. in elementary school. And now as a fourth grader, I remember the day when she walked outside wearing a princess dress, cowboy boots, her hard hat and goggles. I was working on a battery trying to figure out why the car wasn't starting. She pulled up a stool, climbed up on the stool and looked down. Looked at me and said, "I know what's wrong." So I paused, smiled on my face, and asked her to tell me. She says, "It's broken." I said, "Yep, it's broken." And so today I want to encourage another group of young women to not be afraid to pull up a stool and study a battery, or to wear a hard hat and goggles with a princess dress, or a princess dress with hard hat and goggles. We want to encourage you to be the best you can be and to dream big. Enjoy the program today, and I hope to see you at Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology, walking across the graduation stage as the first step to your career and your future.
Thank you, President Rivera. As I said, I am the president and CEO of Brightside Opportunity Center here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I started my career in a STEM field, left the field, and now I'm back, in a different capacity though. At Brightside Opportunity Center, we provide opportunities dedicated to individual achievement and to strengthening the community through collaboration and programs that are both educational and inclusive. Because of our mission, one of our programs is called STEM Girls Leadership Academy. It is a twofold mission. One, to create interest in STEM for middle school girls, and to provide leadership for those girls. You can never have too many female leaders, no matter what field you're in. Now it is my pleasure to introduce to you today Emily Pilliton. Emily is the founder of Girls Garage. She is a builder and an educator. Her work at Girls Garage in Southern California has helped empower many young women to build community projects, such as a school, library, micro homes for the homeless, and a farmer's market. She works to reinvent learning in a hands-on and community-focused way. Please join me in welcoming Emily Pilliton.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Wilanda, for that wonderful introduction. I'm so excited to be here with you today to celebrate International Women's Day. I'm Emily Pilliton, and I'm here in Berkeley, California at Girls Garage, the nonprofit workshop that I founded and run, where I get to work alongside girls your age on awesome building projects. I'm a designer and a builder and a teacher, and I have experience in carpentry, welding, woodworking, masonry, and architecture. And I spend most of my days teaching those same skills to girls like you so that we can build projects together for our community. I'm really sad that you can't physically be here with me to see the space, but let me just start by welcoming you and giving you a quick tour of the Girls Garage workshop. So welcome. When you first arrive at Girls Garage, you'll be greeted by this sign that declares that this is space for you. And we'll walk in the front door. This is the reception area where girls enter when they arrive for classes. One of the first things that you'll see is this huge wall of wooden tiles. And every single square on this wall is a girl who has attended Girls Garage. And they're surrounded by larger squares that are our teachers and partners and funders that make up our community. And as we enter into the space, we have some important community rules that we ask everyone to abide by so that we can make sure our space feels safe and respectful. One of the first things you see when you walk in is our big blue wall that reads "Fear less, build more." This is our slogan, and it's an invitation for all girls, and it's an acknowledgement that we're all afraid of something, and we're gonna be brave anyway. You'll also notice that those words are right above the chop saw, which is one of the first tools that girls learn how to use. And this is our wood shop space, so we have our chop saw and some sanders and other saws and drill presses, our giant tool wall. It's a little bit of a mess in here right now. And then in the main space up front, this is our community table and our table saw to the left. That table is where we meet every day before class. We do a check-in, we make sure girls are doing okay and ready. And then there's some art up on our walls by girls too. That's a community quilt we all made together. And up in our windows, there's a bunch of posters made by girls. We feel like it's really important for girls' own creations to be displayed and visible in the space, because this is truly a space designed by, with, and for young women. So you might be wondering how I got into this. I'm a teacher, but I'm also trained in architecture and the trades. And I guess this all goes back to my childhood, when I was in middle school and high school myself, trying to figure out the whole world and my place in it. I grew up here in Northern California in a small town, and I pretty much always felt out of place, like I was different from everyone else. My mother's Chinese and my father's French, and I was the only non-white student in almost all of my school classes. I was also a tomboy, I was a huge nerd, and I just never felt like I fit in. I'm telling you this though because it turns out that the things that made me feel weird as a kid are exactly the things that I consider to be my superpowers now. And there are a few people and moments that helped me realize this. When I was a kid, I used to spend a lot of time at my grandmother's house, and I would often take things apart. One time I was about 9 or 10 years old, I took apart her old rotary-style telephone because I wanted to figure out how it rang. So there were screws and wires and pieces everywhere, and when she came into the room and saw what I had done, I thought for sure she was going to be mad and I was in big trouble. But instead she told me, no one calls me anyway. And then she helped me figure out how it worked. So my grandmother and my mother also gave me permission to get dirty, to take things apart, to build forts out of twigs, and otherwise to be curious. I also spent a ton of time with my dad on the weekends going to open houses, looking at different homes in my neighborhood that were for sale. We were never looking to buy a house. We just loved walking through homes and seeing how they were laid out, how the space felt, and then talking about our favorite parts of the architecture. I think it was in those moments with my dad that I first fell in love with architecture, because it felt like a way to make a little part of the world my own. So we would go home and I'd draw floor plans of our house or just my bedroom, and then redesign the layout and move around all my furniture or repaint a wall. Creating my own space felt like a way of expressing myself when I otherwise didn't feel like there were that many spaces that belonged to me. And then when I was 16 years old, I worked on my first construction site. I was given the opportunity to travel to Belize in Central America with a group of teenagers from all around the country. And over an entire summer, we worked and learned alongside local masons and carpenters, and we built an entire town park. We mixed and poured concrete by hand. We used machetes to level fields of weeds. We framed and raised a gazebo roof. We built benches and we planted trees. And this was the moment I knew I wanted to be a builder, because it was the first time that I felt like I had real power in the world and that I had a role to use hands-on skills to make the world better. I learned so much from the skilled local builders and totally exceeded my own expectations of what I thought I could do. I could raise a roof. I could stand on a 16-foot ladder. I could mix 3,000 pounds of concrete by hand. And I could build something real that's still standing to this day. So because of that experience, I went on to study architecture at UC Berkeley and then at the School of the Art Institute in Chicago. And after I got my graduate degree, I worked in an architecture office and a few other places for a few years. And then I broke out on my own to start a nonprofit, which is now Girls Garage. Even though there were job opportunities in traditional architecture or construction offices, I really missed having my hands in the dirt and using tools and working as a community to build real things. I missed what it felt like to be a teenager in Belize. So it's also been really important for me to pay forward that same opportunity I had as a young woman who felt out of place. I want other young girls to experience what it feels like to be powerful and to leave an impact in your community. So Girls Garage grew out of this hope. I want to equip girls with all the tools to build the world you want to see. And so here we are at Girls Garage. You already got the tour, but every day of the week, girls come to Girls Garage after school for classes in carpentry, welding, architecture, and activist art. And then over the summer, we build giant real-world projects for our community, like furniture for a women's shelter down the street or a huge chicken coop for an urban farm. Most of the girls who come here identify as girls of color, and most of them have been coming here for years, some since they were 9 or 10 years old, and now they're about to graduate from high school. I know all of them and their families really well, and we're like a family ourselves. We support each other when we're carrying lumber or using power saws, but also we support each other in life when we need someone to lean on or a little extra help. And all of the adults who work here are pretty incredible builder women too. Augusta, who's our welding instructor, is a metal fabricator and a professional welder. Haley is a licensed architect. Allison is a shop teacher and a Jill of all trades. And Hay and Yatunde are multimedia artists. It's our hope that by creating this safe and inspiring space for girls, that we can all build our dream projects together that make a difference in the world. It's really important too that we're responding to things that we see in our neighborhood. So as we're learning and practicing our building skills, we're also using them to build things that improve other people's lives too. If you're wondering what kind of girls come to Girls Garage, the answer is all of them. Erica is a young woman who came to us when she was 10 years old. She came to the very first Girls Garage summer camp ever. That summer, she learned how to weld, and she made a steel symbol that represented the meaning of her name. Since then, she's built over 30 different projects at Girls Garage, and she was one of the leaders of our most ambitious project yet, a 500 square foot chicken coop, chicken pavilion actually, that we built for a local farm last summer. She's now graduated from high school and is studying civil engineering at San Jose State University. Izzy joined Girls Garage in 2019 as part of a cohort of girls who had no building experience at all. She came to us excited to learn how to use tools, and with her teammates, she built a covered sandbox for the preschool that's just down the street. Izzy actually just moved back to New Jersey with her family last week, and we were so sad to see her go. But she took her giant Girls Garage toolbox of tools with her, and we know she's going to keep building on the East Coast. And Soraya, who's just about to start middle school, joined us last summer in a virtual format because of COVID. But Zoom would not stop her, and she designed a model of her dream bedroom. Then, when we were able to come back to in-person classes in the fall, Soraya got to build furniture for her dream bedroom, including her own chair, and just last week she finished a hairpin leg table to go next to her bed. There is always a place for every type of girl at Girls Garage, and who you are as a young woman is honored. It's actually essential to our community. We talk about what it means to be a girl and the challenges and victories that we experience too. So why are spaces like Girls Garage important right now? And why might you consider picking up your own tools and exploring the building trades? Well, you may already know that STEM, technology, and the trades are predominantly male industries, and women are underrepresented in these careers. Only 10% of construction jobs are held by women, and only 0.3% of registered architects in the US are Black women. This is not because girls aren't interested or aren't good enough. I know that girls are interested because we have a wait list of over 100 girls here at Girls Garage. And I know that girls are good enough because we build epic projects together every year that are used and beloved by our community. And because, insider secret, I have taught co-ed classes too, and I firmly believe that girls are just as, if not more, creative, collaborative, and precise builders as boys. Women are underrepresented because these are careers and spaces that historically haven't been available to or inviting to women. So we're just now having to break down these barriers. These sad statistics also represent an unbalanced and unequal workforce, and they have a pretty scary implication of who gets to have a say in the authorship of our world. If you look around the world at buildings, products, roads, systems that we all use, nearly all of them were designed by men, and mostly white men. This isn't to say that men have bad ideas, but just that when you only have one type of person designing a world that's used by many types of people, you're going to have some blind spots. Here's an example, the crash test dummy. The crash test dummy that's used to test the safety of cars is based on an average male body, 5'9" and 170 pounds to be exact. It was designed by teams from the automotive industry dominated by men. But women are far more likely to suffer severe injuries or to be killed in a car accident. And there's no female crash test dummy. So in 2003, they finally made a female crash test dummy, but it's actually just a sized down version of the male dummy and doesn't represent the female body at all. There are tons of examples like this, that the world was not designed for us because it wasn't designed by us. So, what might our cities, technology, and environments look like if they were created by girls and women? I think the world would be more beautiful, more equitable, smarter, and more useful. If the world were designed by women, it would be designed for everyone. This is why I went into STEM and the trades, because I want to be part of shaping the world itself. And I want you to be part of shaping the world too. Lucky for you, Girls Garage is just one group in a whole community of fearless builder girls. I recently wrote a book to invite girls everywhere to be part of this movement. The book has hundreds of tool tutorials, projects, skills, and profiles of awesome other builder women from around the world who you should definitely know. There's Patrice Banks, who runs Girls Auto Clinic that's not too far from you in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. She left a corporate career to become an auto mechanic and then started her own garage to help women feel more empowered to maintain and repair their own cars. There's Kia Weatherspoon, who's an interior designer. She used to be a ballerina and a soldier, and now she designs spaces that helps people feel dignity in their own lives. There's Alison Orapallo, who is my dear friend and co-teacher here at Girls Garage. She's a former collegiate ice hockey player, a huge dog lover, and she teaches a shop class at a nearby school. She also basically built her own house, and she's currently building a pool in her backyard. And lastly, there's Kay Morrison, who's almost 100 years old. She was a welder in World War II. She talks about the camaraderie that she felt among her other female welders and how she felt underqualified at first and then realized she was actually a better welder than most of her male counterparts. There are so many incredible women who are builders and leaders and also mentors and your future colleagues. There's no wrong way to be a builder girl, and there's a place for every type of girl to be in the trades. So I want to invite you into a family of builder girls and women who are building the world we want to see. Here are a few pieces of parting advice. Number 1, stock your own toolbox, literally. When I was a kid, I had a Swiss Army knife and a tiny little crowbar that I loved the way some kids adored their stuffed animals. Pick a tool and ask for it for your birthday, or borrow something from a family friend, or save up and buy something from a hardware store. Put your name on it. Try using it to fix or build things, because tools make you feel powerful. And then go get another tool and another, and soon you'll be the girl with the tools. If you don't know where to start, I recommend a drill and a driver set. A drill is used for drilling holes, and a driver is used for installing screws. They work together like peanut butter and jelly. A tape measure is indispensable. And fun fact, you'll notice that some of the numbers are red, every 16 inches to be exact. Want to know why? The wooden studs inside your wall are 16 inches apart. So carpenters use these red numbers to help lay out and mark where to install the studs when they're framing out the structure for a wall. And I love the circular saw, which is good for making cuts in lumber, large and small. And the circular saw was invented by a woman named Tabitha Babbitt, who was a tool lover and inventor herself. Another sister in building for you to get to know. Advice number 2, know who your crew is. There are so many people who would love to be helpful to you. Adults, friends, teachers, even women like me who you may not know personally yet, but if you emailed me and said, Emily, please help me with something, I would love to support you. My email is emily@girlsgarage.org. Make a list of these people and consider them your own personal cheer squad. Ask them for help to build something. Remember that you're never alone. Number 3, you were built for this. So don't let anyone tell you that STEM or the trades or tech are not meant for girls. Don't let anyone tell you they're too technical. There are technical aspects, sure, but working in tech and the trades is also highly creative and collaborative and fun. You get to solve problems, work with other people, you have to be compassionate, and you have to look at the world with optimism. Even if you're the best technical welder in the world, that doesn't mean much if you don't do it with purpose and next to your teammates, right? If you're a tomboy, a girly girl, a misfit, an athlete, a math nerd, or a math hater, I promise you, you have a special thing that is needed in the trades, and the trades would be lucky to have you. Number 4, it is so much more important to be brave than to be perfect. I had a professor in college who instructed me to make bad work on purpose because he said it would help me understand that sometimes it's more important to finish than to make something perfect. Try something new, finish the project, and then see what you've learned for next time. Bravery is a muscle that you can exercise. It's like your biceps. And there's also no such thing as bravery without fear. So if you're scared to try something, just acknowledge that you're scared and then do it anyway. I am so grateful that I've had the chance to share my story with you, and I hope that I've inspired you to go build something yourself. So I will leave you with this. You are powerful. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Choose your own toolbox and go build the world you want to see.
Thank you, Emily. Emily has agreed to close out today's program by answering some of the more frequently asked questions she gets from young women like you. Here are those questions with Emily's answers. The first question, what do I need to do as a freshman in high school to be prepared to work in this field?
That is such a great question, Walanda. Thank you. I would say, first of all, that when I was a freshman in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So if you already have a direction or a career that you're interested in, you are light years ahead of where I was. One thing I would suggest that would help prepare you for these fields is to start documenting your own work. And you may think, well, I don't have work, but anything you make or build or anything that you do in school that you're proud of, start building a portfolio for yourself. Take pictures, make small videos. Just start collecting all of it, because eventually when you apply for a job or you apply to a college program, or someone's just curious about what you know how to do, you'll have a place where you've documented everything and you can showcase it in a really proud and thorough way. The other thing I would say is to stay curious. Don't feel like you have to have this great passion for welding or you know exactly what you want to be. I think sometimes it's easier to chase our curiosities than to be able to identify the thing we're passionate about. So leave room to discover things that you wouldn't naturally be drawn to. I think there are all kinds of skills to be learned within the trades and tech and STEM, and just stay curious. And then lastly, if you can, if there are programs available to you, I would say see if you can do a shadow day or find some kind of mentorship network or even an internship. And even better if you can find a female mentor who will tell you what kind of work they do, what their days are like, what it's like to work in these types of fields, and potentially even allow you into those spaces to see it in action. I would have loved to have had access to a mentor like that when I was a freshman in high school. I think it would have helped me understand the road ahead.
And next, who inspired you in deciding your career path?
I think the people who inspired me the most to pursue a career path in architecture and building were actually my high school teachers. And interestingly, none of them ever said to me, you should study architecture or you should be a builder. But what they did for me is they gave me permission to be a nerd about all things. I remember when I was in high school, I was that student who was an athlete. I loved calculus. I was an artist. I was always reading. I founded a Habitat for Humanity chapter. I just was all over the place. I did all the things all the time. And that sounds great, but it's actually a little bit difficult when you get to be a junior or senior and you kind of have to pick a path. And I remember feeling like, how could I ever pick a thing, a career, one thing to explore when everything just felt so fascinating? And so I had these 3 teachers, Mr. Cohen, Miss Schrick, and Miss Jaime. And all 3 of them in different ways said to me, just be a nerd about everything. Find the thing that allows you to be curious about everything. And so architecture emerged for me as this center of a Venn diagram that allowed me to still be interested in math and in social sciences and in art. And right at the middle was this thing that allowed me to continue to learn about all those different things. So I owe a lot to my high school teachers who just gave me the space and the permission to be who I was and trust that something would reveal itself to me that felt good and felt right.
Next we find that female students outperform their male counterparts while on campus, but tend to not be retained in the field. Why do you think that is?
I've seen these statistics also, and it is disheartening to know that so many women don't stay in the trades or in tech or in STEM beyond a few years. And I think it would be easy to think that that's because there's something wrong with us, that we are lacking in something, that we can't cut it. And I think that's just categorically wrong. We see this in a lot of institutions in our society that were not built for us. They do not accommodate the way that women want to work and learn and live. And so I think that one of the things that we can do is to find networks of mentors and to find each other. Like I said, find your crew, find the women or men who are there for you and who truly support you and want to see you succeed, and surround yourself with those people and block out everything else. That sounds easy because there will always be people who are working against you. But you have to just be able to create a boundary for yourself and identify who's here to support me and who isn't, and make sure you prioritize the people who are truly supporting you. And don't doubt yourself. I think it's so easy for us women to say, well, something's wrong, it must be me. And it usually isn't. There are things that we can self-reflect on, there are things we can always do better, but it shouldn't be our instinct to think that it's us, that we are the problem. And I think this is a time and space and an industry that is ripe for and excited to grow and become more diverse. So be vocal. Be vocal about the things that don't feel right to you as a woman in these spaces, and pay forward what you've learned to the next generation too.
And our last question today, of all the projects you've worked on, which one was your favorite?
Oh, I have so many projects that I love, but my favorite has to be our most recently completed giant piece of architecture, which is a 500 square foot chicken coop that we built for Urban Tilth, which is an urban farm just up the road. And it's a wonderful organization. They provide fresh produce to the local community, and they needed more space for their chickens so that they can also include eggs in what they provide. And this is a project that we did with our advanced design build cohort. These are some of the longest attending girls who have been part of Girls Garage for years and years and years. And so they're sort of our Navy SEALs of the Girls Garage community. And we've also been working together so long that we really know each other's strengths and weaknesses and who's going to do what and when. And it is really the construction crew of my dreams. This project was built over the course of a year. It started with design. We really took it from zero to the finish line. And every step of the way, girls were making decisions about what the pitch of the roof should be and where should the doors go and what material should we use for decking. Every single piece was built by girls. And over the summer, when most things were shut down because of COVID, we were able to complete this project because it was an outdoor construction project. And it was over 1 week. It was so intense. It was every day, all day. And it was so much fun. Building on a construction site that's all female with young women and my colleagues it was incredible. We learned so much from each other. We had to pivot and adjust and solve problems. We had to assign people to certain tasks. We stretched together in the morning and we huddled up at the end of the day. And it was just such a wonderful representation of the power of groups of women coming together to make real things together. And the building itself is gorgeous, and we're so thrilled that it is going to be serving our community for years to come. And I think at the end of the day, that's why I love this project so much too, because the girls got to see it from start to finish. And when we cut the ribbon, we knew that we were walking away from a building that we could say we built that and it matters. And that to me is the greatest gift. And that's what I hope for every project. So in that way, every project is my favorite project to build with girls.
Well, ladies, we hope you feel and have been inspired and motivated to accomplish your goals. We thank Emily Pilliton, Girls Garage, and our partners at Thaddeus Stevens College. Now, Melissa Wisniewski, Dean of Enrollment Services at Thaddeus Stevens College, will provide closing remarks.
Thank you, Yolanda. Thank you, Emily. I hope you all found some inspiration in their words. I know that I'm inspired after hearing all the wonderful things that you do to encourage young ladies to get involved with the trades. I love your line, build the world you want to see. Maybe you're asking yourself, but how can I learn to build? We'd love for you to join us at Thaddeus Stevens, where we can help you learn to build. We offer many of the programs Emily mentioned, such as architecture, carpentry, welding, and engineering. To learn more about Thaddeus Stevens and the programs we have to offer, visit our website at stevenscollege.edu or connect with us during our virtual open house on Thursday, April 22nd. As a student in 2021, there are so many options, paths, and careers at your fingertips. We hope that you find your path to a dream career, and we would love to help you pave that path at Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology.